Imagine this scenario with me for a second. It's a Tuesday. The final bell rang about, 3, maybe 4 hours ago. You have successfully navigated the absolute chaos of the hallways. You've delivered the lessons you spent all weekend planning. You've managed the behavioral outbursts, and you finally made it home. You are quite literally wiped out. You're just sitting on your couch, staring at a blank spot on the wall, just trying to get your brain to stop buzzing. You know that feeling, right? That deeper than sleep exhaustion where your bones actually feel heavy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's a very specific type of fatigue. It's not just being tired from physical exertion. It's a systemic depletion. It's what people in the industry call teacher tired. It's a cognitive and emotional drain that feels like a physical weight on your chest.
Exactly. It's heavy. And then, just as you're starting to unclench your jaw, just as you're starting to feel like a human being again, your phone lights up on the coffee table. It's 10:00 p.m. And it's a notification. Maybe it's a parent with a quick question about tomorrow's field trip information that has been on the website for weeks. Maybe it's an email from an administrator asking for a small favor regarding a committee you aren't even on. And in that moment, you feel that sinking sensation in your gut, that distinct, heavy feeling that you are never, ever actually off the clock.
It is the modern professional's nightmare, certainly. But for teachers specifically, it is endemic. It is the feeling of being hunted by your own job. You are in a constant state of fight or flight because the boundaries of your workplace have just dissolved into the ether.
That is such a visceral way to put it, hunted. And the instinct, the gut reaction for so many of us is to grab the phone, to type out the reply right then and there, to be the good teacher, to say, no problem, I'm on it, because we want to be helpful. We want to be seen as dedicated. We want to, secure our position and make sure everyone knows we care.
And that instinct right there, that desire to be the good one, that reflexive need to jump when the bell rings, that is exactly what we are here to dismantle today. Because the source material we are looking at argues something very controversial and frankly quite disturbing to the average conscientious professional. That instinct is not noble. It is not dedication. It is self-sabotage.
That is a heavy start, but I think it's necessary given the feedback we've been seeing and the burnout rates in the profession. Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are unpacking something that I think is going to make a lot of people feel seen, but maybe also a little bit called out. We are looking at the philosophy behind the YouTube channel Silent Winner, specifically a video titled, Why You Should Never Be Too Helpful as a Private School Teacher.
And let's be clear about the mission today. This isn't just about complaining about workload. We aren't just here to vent about annoying parents or demanding bosses. This is a strategic intervention. We are looking at a concept called the Helpfulness Trap. The goal here is to move you, the listener, from being a reactive servant, which is what that 10:00 p.m. text turns you into a strategic authority.
I love that distinction, reactive servant versus strategic authority, because when you're in the thick of it, it just feels like you're doing your job. You think, I'm a teacher, I help people. But the source material is arguing that by doing too much of your job or doing it at the wrong times, you're actually hurting your standing. But I have to play devil's advocate right off the bat here. Isn't teaching, by definition, a service profession? We serve the students, we serve the families. If we stop serving, don't we stop being teachers? Or are we suggesting we just stop caring?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's the shield that the system uses to keep you compliant. The source argues that there is a fundamental difference between teaching, which is a high-level act of pedagogy and leadership, and servitude, which is the act of obeying commands. When you blur that line, you are actively devaluing yourself. That is the brutal truth we need to get to. The tone of this deep dive is going to be analytical and honest. We aren't here to pat you on the back for working hard. We are here to ask a very uncomfortable question. Is that hard work actually getting you respect? Or is it making you invisible?
Invisible, that seems extreme. Usually the hardest workers are the most visible, right?
Not necessarily. Think about the infrastructure of a building, the pipes, the wiring. They work 2/27. They are essential. But you only notice them when they break. You don't walk into a room and thank the light switch. You just expect it to work. If you position yourself as a utility, you become invisible until you fail.
Wow, okay. That framing creates a completely different perspective on reliability. So let's unpack this. The source starts with a really striking economic principle to back this up. It's almost a slogan. Accessibility kills status.
Accessibility kills status. If you take nothing else away from this conversation, take that phrase, burn it into your mind. Accessibility kills status.
It sounds counterintuitive, though, doesn't it? In most parts of life, being accessible is a good thing. We want accessible buildings, accessible information, user-friendly software. We live in the age of instant access. Why does it kill status in a profession? Shouldn't being easy to reach make me a better employee?
To understand this, we have to look at the economics of value, specifically the laws of supply and demand. The source uses a metaphor that is absolutely perfect for this: gold versus tap water.
Okay, gold versus tap water. I'm intrigued. Lay this out for me. How does this apply to a classroom teacher?
Think about it fundamentally. Why is gold valuable? Why do nations hoard it? Why do wars get fought over it? Why do we wear it as jewelry to signal status?
Well, because it's rare. It's shiny, sure, but mostly it's hard to get. You can't just walk outside and pick it up off the ground. It requires mining, refining.
Precisely. It is scarce. You have to dig for it. It requires effort to obtain. It is not available to everyone. Its value is derived almost entirely from its scarcity. Now contrast that with tap water. It is essential for life. You literally die without it in a matter of days. It is arguably far more useful and necessary than gold. But is it expensive?
No, it's practically free. I pay pennies for thousands of gallons. I don't even think about the cost when I turn the faucet on.
Because it is abundant. It is everywhere. You turn a handle, and there it is. You don't respect the tap water. You use it, you waste it, you pour it down the drain while you're brushing your teeth. You expect it to be there. And more importantly, and this is the key psychological point, you get angry if it isn't there, but you feel no gratitude when it is.
Ooh. Okay, I see where this is going. It's the taken for granted factor. It's the baseline expectation.
Exactly. When something is infinitely accessible, it ceases to be a luxury and becomes an entitlement. So if I apply this to the classroom, if you are the teacher who answers every email within 5 minutes, who says yes to every volunteer opportunity, who is always in the hallway asking if anyone needs help.
I am tap water.
You are tap water.
That hurts. That genuinely stings, because I think a lot of us pride ourselves on being that person. We think it makes us reliable.
It should hurt. It's meant to be a wake-up call. If you are available 24/7, if your expertise and your time are always on tap, you become a commodity, you become cheap. Parents and administrators stop viewing your time as a precious resource that they need to be careful with, and they start viewing it as a utility. And just like a utility, they get annoyed when it doesn't work instantly.
That explains the entitlement we see so often. You know, when a parent gets angry that you didn't reply to an email sent on a Saturday morning, it's because you've trained them to expect the water to flow whenever they turn the tap.
Exactly. You have taught them that you have no boundaries. This is behavioral conditioning 101. If you reward the behavior of emailing at 10 p.m. with a response at 10:05 p.m., you've positively reinforced that behavior. You have trained them to do it again. The source breaks this down into two distinct personas to illustrate the point. On the one hand, you have the always available helper. This is the person running around, hair on fire, trying to please everyone.
A martyr. The one who thinks if I just work harder, if I just sacrifice a little more, they'll see how good I am, they'll give me that promotion, they'll appreciate me.
Yeah.
We see this in movies all the time. The teacher who gives everything and saves the school.
But movies aren't real life. In the real economic marketplace of a private school, what is the actual result for the martyr? The source is very specific here. They aren't treated like a hero. They are perceived as cheap. They're treated like an assistant. Their professional status takes a nosedive because they have demonstrated that their time has no value. If you give your time away for free, the market value of your time is zero. This is the concept of opportunity cost applied to social capital. If your time costs nothing to acquire, it is worth nothing to the buyer.
That is a harsh reality. It implies that helpfulness is inversely proportional to respect.
So, who is the alternative? Who's the gold in this metaphor?
The strategic professional. This person has boundaries. They are not immediately available. You send them an email and you might not hear back until the next workday. You ask them to do a favor and they might say no. They are polite, but they're distant. And normally, especially in a school environment, which is so communal, we'd think that person is being difficult or aloof or not a team player. We might even gossip about them. Oh, she thinks she's too good to help with the bake sale.
But look at the result. Look at how the administration treats them. They are seen as valuable. They are treated as an authority. Why? Because scarcity creates the perception of importance. This is the scarcity heuristic in psychology. If I can't get a hold of you instantly, my brain assumes you're doing something important. I assume your time is booked. I assume you are in high demand.
It's the difference between a walk-in clinic and a specialist who is booked out for 3 months. You respect the specialist more, even though the clinic is more helpful in the immediate sense. You wait for the specialist, you prepare for the meeting with the specialist, you don't show up late to the specialist.
Ideally, yes. The source frames this as a shift from being a service provider to being an authority. Hi. When you fall into the helpfulness trap, you are essentially turning yourself into a customer service representative.
Thank you for calling Mr. Smith's classroom. How can I help you today? It feels subservient.
It is subservience, and customer service reps are there to be abused, frankly. In our society, sadly, the customer service role is designed to absorb friction. They're there to solve problems instantly and apologize. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. Let me fix that right away.
Yeah.
That is not the role of a pedagogue. That is not the role of an expert in education. But we do it to ourselves. We degrade our own position by trying to be too accommodating.
I think this hits on a really deep insecurity many of us have. We worry that if we aren't helpful, we aren't doing a good job. We worry about job security. If I'm not the one doing everything, am I expendable? But you're saying that the definition of a good job needs to change.
The definition needs to align with reality, not sentiment. The reality is that professional respect is a game of status. It's a hierarchy, and you cannot maintain status if you are subservient to everyone's whims. The administration respects the teacher who pushes back professionally far more than the teacher who rolls over.
Why is that, though? Truly. You'd think admins want the pushover. It makes their life easier. If the principal needs a hole plugged in the schedule, the yes man solves their headache. Why would they respect the person who causes them friction?
Short term, yes, they like the convenience.
Yeah.
But deep down, they know the pushover has no backbone. They know they can exploit that person. And psychologically, humans do not respect the people they can exploit. It's a dark truth about human nature, but it holds up in organizational psychology. You respect the person who holds the line because that person signals that they know their worth. If you don't value your own time, why on earth would you expect a parent or a principal to value it?
That is the core of the status paradox. By trying to be valuable through availability, you become valueless.
Correct. You are trading gold for tap water and wondering why you're broke. You are bankrupting your social capital by flooding the market.
So we've established that being too available is a trap, but there's a mechanism that keeps us in that trap. It's not just our own insecurity, it's external pressure. There is a specific cultural lie that is especially prevalent in private schools, but really in any intense workplace. The source calls it the family lie.
Oh, this is the most insidious part. It's the phrase, but we're a family here.
It sounds so nice. I mean, honestly, when I hear that, I feel good. Welcome to the family. We support each other like a family. It feels warm. It feels fuzzy. It makes you feel like you belong to a tribe. And as humans, we crave that belonging. Why does the source attack this?
Because that craving is exactly why it is a weapon. The source defines this not as a nice sentiment, but as a management tactic and a manipulation.
A manipulation. That seems cynical. Are you saying these schools don't actually care about their staff? Surely there is some genuine care there.
There might be individual care between people. But structurally, let's deconstruct it linguistically and socially. What does a family do? How does a family operate? A family operates on unconditional obligation. If your brother calls you at 3:00 a.m. because his car broke down on the highway, you go get him. You don't charge him an hourly rate for driving. You don't check your employment contract. You don't ask if it's billable hours. You do it because of love and biological obligation.
Right. Boundaries in a family are fluid. You do things for free. You forgive repeatedly. You endure hardship together without asking what's in it for me.
Exactly. Now, apply that to a workplace. When an employer tells you, we are a family, what they're actually saying is, we want to extract labor from you that we are not paying for, and we want you to feel guilty if you refuse.
Wow. Okay, when you put it that way,
Right?
it changes the flavor of the Friday morning donuts. It sounds predatory.
It is a tool to erase the line between employee and person. If we are a family, then asking you to cover a class during your prep period, which is your contractually obligated planning time, isn't a violation of your contract. It's just pitching in for the family. If we are a family, answering emails at night isn't unpaid overtime. It's caring about the kids.
It's emotional blackmail. It frames a business transaction as a moral test.
It is. It's a hidden price tag. The source is very clear. Families don't have boundaries, but professionals do. Professional status is defined by contracts, job descriptions, and distinct boundaries. By invoking the family metaphor, the administration is trying to bypass your professional protections. They're trying to hack your empathy.
It makes it personal. That's the trap. If I say no to my boss, it's a business decision. I can justify that with data. I don't have the bandwidth. But if I say no to my family, I'm a bad person. I'm betraying the tribe. I'm the uncle who didn't show up to Thanksgiving.
And that is the psychological weapon. Guilt. They use your own goodness against you. They know you care about the students. They know you want to be a team player. So they weaponize that to get free labor. The source is telling us to wake up to this dynamic. You are not a bad person for having boundaries. You are a professional resisting exploitation.
But I struggle with this because I do care about the students. I don't want to just be a mercenary who punches the clock. Is there a middle ground?
The middle ground is professionalism. You can care deeply about the student's education without adopting the student into your emotional family. The surgeon cares about the patient, but the surgeon does not sleep in the patient's room. If the surgeon is too emotionally involved, their hand shakes. Distance is actually required for professional excellence.
So if we stop falling for the family lie, what does a relationship look like? If we aren't a family, what are we?
It looks like a high-functioning business arrangement. Or think of a professional sports team. A professional sports team works together, they have camaraderie, they want to win, but they're there to perform a job. If a player stops performing, they get cut. If the team stops paying the player leaves. It is transactional, but respectful. You provide expert services instruction, curriculum design, assessment in exchange for compensation and respect. You are not a volunteer. You are not a parent to these children. You are their educator.
That distinction is huge. I am not a volunteer. I think a lot of teachers feel like volunteers who happen to get a check.
Think about the listener right now. How many hours a week are they working for free? Grading on Sundays, planning during lunch, staying late for clubs they aren't paid to run? That is the family tax. And the goal of this deep dive is to help you stop paying it.
The source puts it in a really interesting way. It says the goal is to stop being an unlimited buffet of time and energy.
I love that image. An unlimited buffet. Think about a cheap, all-you-can-eat place. It's messy, it's crowded, and people gorge themselves until they feel sick. They pile their plates high because it's all there for the taking. They treat the food with zero respect. You do not want to be the buffet. You want to be the Michelin star restaurant. You want to be by reservation only. You want the portions to be small, curated, and expensive.
So we need to shift from being the agreeable family member, the buffet, to the strategic professional, the fine dining experience. But how do we actually do that? Because it's scary. If you've been the yes person for 5 years, suddenly saying no feels like walking off a cliff. It feels like you're going to get fired.
It does feel dangerous. It triggers our primal fear of social ostracization, which is why the source gives us 3 very specific rules. This is the strategic scarcity section of our discussion. This is the how-to. It's not enough to just have the philosophy. You need the tactics.
Okay, let's get into the tactics. Rule number 1 involves building professional armor. And the source clarifies this isn't about building walls to keep people out, but about structures. What does that mean?
Right. Walls isolate you. If you build a wall, nobody can see you and you become irrelevant. Armor protects you while you work. You are still on the battlefield, but you aren't taking damage. The core of this armor is boundaries. And the most practical, immediately applicable tactic the source offers is the delayed response.
This goes back to the tap water thing. This is about turning off the faucet.
Yes. Let's go back to that 10:00 p.m. text message from a parent, or even a 4:00 p.m. email if your contract ends at 3:30. The tap water teacher replies instantly, "Hi, yes, don't worry, Johnny can turn it in late."
Instant gratification. The parent is happy for 5 seconds and the teacher is tired. And the dopamine hit for the parent is problem solved.
And the parent now knows that 10:00 p.m. is an acceptable time to text.
Yeah.
They will do it again. You have validated the channel. Now, what does the strategic professional do?
They don't reply.
They don't reply tonight. They wait until they are back at their desk the next morning. And then, and this is the script the source provides, which is genius because of the psychology embedded in it, they send this. "I received your message. I will give this my full attention when I am back at my desk tomorrow." Or if it's the next morning, "I received your message last night. I am giving it my full attention now."
Oh, I like that. I will give this my full attention.
Break down why that works. Why is that phrase better than "sorry, I missed you"?
Well, first, it avoids the apology. It doesn't say sorry. That's huge. Teachers apologize for everything. It asserts control over the when. It says, I saw this, but I chose not to engage until now.
Correct. It signals that you control the timeline. But look at the promise. better attention.
Right. It implies that if I answered you at 10:0 p.m., you'd get my sleepy half-brained attention. But if you wait, you get my full attention. You get the expert.
Exactly. You are framing the delay not as a refusal, but as a quality control measure. You are saying, I am too professional to give you a half-baked answer while I'm watching Netflix. I will treat your concern with the gravity it deserves during business hours.
That flips the script entirely. It turns ignoring them into serving them better. It makes the delay a benefit to the parent.
And that is the essence of professional status. You are prioritizing quality over speed. Fast attention is usually cheap attention. Slow, deliberate attention is valuable. This tactic alone, stopping the instant reply, is the first piece of armor. It trains parents to stop expecting instant access.
It effectively shuts off the tap. You have to wait for the water to be bottled and delivered.
And trust me, they might chafe at it for a week. They might send a follow-up text like, did you get this? But eventually, they respect it. They realize you are not at their beck and call. They learn your rhythm, and they start to batch their questions because they know they won't get an instant ping-pong response.
Okay, that covers communication. But what about the requests, the extra duties, the committees, the Spirit Week coordination? That brings us to rule number 2, the power of no.
This is the hardest one for teachers. We are conditioned to say yes. We are conditioned to do it for the kids. But the source frames no, not as a negative, but as the ultimate sign of professional strength.
How is saying no a sign of strength? Usually saying no feels like giving up or being lazy.
It communicates that your resources are finite. If you say yes to everything, you are admitting that your time has no value and you have nothing better to do. If you say no, you are signaling that your time is already allocated to high-value tasks.
The source talks about this as a zero-sum game. Can you explain that for the listeners who might not be economics buffs?
A zero-sum game means that for every gain in one area, there's an equivalent loss in another. The total amount of time is fixed. You cannot create more hours in the day. Every single time you say yes to a non-essential task, covering a lunch duty for a friend, joining the Spirit Week planning committee, you are simultaneously saying no to something else.
That's a terrifying way to think about it. It makes every yes feel expensive. What am I saying no to?
You tell me. If you spend an hour after school planning Spirit Week, what are you not doing?
I'm not grading that stack of essays. Or, I'm not planning a truly engaging lesson for tomorrow because I'll be too tired, so I'll just pull up a generic worksheet. Or, I'm saying no to my own children at home. I'm saying no to the gym. I'm saying no to my own sleep.
It's exorbitant. You are paying for that committee with your mental health and your core job performance. The strategic professional understands this trade-off. They know that to be excellent in the classroom, which is their actual job, the thing they are paid to do, they must say no to the noise.
So no isn't about being lazy. It's about protecting the main thing. It's about preserving the energy for the classroom instruction.
Precisely. It is guarding the asset. You are the asset. If you burn out, the asset is destroyed. Saying no is asset protection. The source says people don't value what's free. Stop giving your time away like a free sample at a grocery store.
It's so true. The teacher who volunteers for everything is usually the one people roll their eyes at, or the one they dump more work on because, oh, she'll do it. They become the path of least resistance.
And does that teacher get paid more? No. Do they get promoted? Rarely. Usually, they are kept exactly where they are because they are too useful as a beast of burden. The teacher who says, no, I can't take that on, my focus is on the curriculum update right now, is looked at with respect. Oh, they are focused. They are busy. They are doing serious work.
It adds weight to your presence. It makes you look like a serious operator.
Professional weight. That's a great term for it. It gives you gravity.
Okay, so we're delaying responses and we're saying no to busy work. That leads us to rule number 3, which is about mindset. Shifting from customer service to authority.
This is the linguistic shift. It's about how you speak about your work. It's about the frame you put around your interactions.
The source says we need to stop being a help desk and start being an expert in pedagogy.
Think about a help desk interaction. You have a problem, you call, they fix it, you hang up. It's transactional and subservient. My kid forgot his lunch. I'll get it to him. My kid didn't understand the homework. I'll explain it again. The teacher is just a mechanism to fix the parent's anxiety.
That's the reactive servant. You jump when they say jump.
Yes. Now imagine a different professional. How does a doctor, an authority, handle a patient? If a patient comes in and says, I hurt, fix me, give me these pills, the doctor doesn't just hand over the pills instantly. They assess, they diagnose, they prescribe a plan, And sometimes that plan requires the patient to do work. You need to change your diet. You need to do these exercises.
So how does a teacher do that? How do we adopt the doctor frame?
When a parent comes to you with the demand or a worry, you don't just solve it. You offer a professional assessment. You offer a strategy. You don't take the monkey off their back. You show them how to carry it.
Can you give me an example of that language shift? Because I feel like if I started talking like a doctor, parents would look at me like I was crazy.
Yeah.
Subtle. Let's say a parent emails and says, Jared is failing math. He needs extra tutoring during your lunch break. That is a demand for your free time. The help desk teacher says, okay, send him in.
And the authority teacher.
Authority teacher says, I have reviewed Jared's recent assessments. I have noticed a pattern of disengagement during the initial instruction phase. My professional recommendation is that we focus on his in-class attention strategies first. I have a plan for him to track his own focus during the lesson. Let's try this for 2 weeks and reassess.
Wow. That is different. That feels heavy.
Do you see the difference? You didn't just say yes or no to the tutoring. You diagnosed the root cause, disengagement. You asserted your expertise. I reviewed the assessments. And you prescribed a plan that puts the responsibility back on the student, not on your free time.
And you used words like recommendation, assessment, strategy. It sounds clinical. It sounds like a consultant. Exactly. It forces the parent to view you as a peer or even as superior in this context, rather than a servant. You are the expert in the room. Act like it. When you frame your input as an expert plan, it becomes very hard for them to treat you like a helper. You don't tell a surgeon how to hold the scalpel. You shouldn't tell a teacher how to manage the classroom. But you have to claim that authority. It isn't given to you.
That's a key point. Authority isn't given, it's taken. You have to claim that space.
And you claim it by not being helpful. You claim it by being effective, strategic, and sometimes by being unavailable. You claim it by saying, I am the expert here, and this is the path forward.
This is a total rewiring of the good teacher brain. We've been taught that the good teacher gives everything. You're saying the good teacher, the sustainable teacher, keeps the best parts for themselves and the actual instruction and gives the bureaucracy nothing.
The good teacher narrative is a myth created to exploit you. The strategic winner is the reality you need to survive. If you want to be teaching in 10 years, you cannot be the good teacher today. You will burn out in 3.
So let's pivot to the outro here. We've got the theory, we've got the rules. But as the source says, theory is useless without action. We need to land this plane.
We need a first move. The source issues a specific challenge. It says the transformation begins with a single decision.
And I love the prediction here. The source says, sometime this week, an unreasonable request will come in.
It is inevitable. It's nature. A vacuum of silence will be filled by a request for your time. It might be tomorrow. A colleague asking you to cover. A parent demanding a meeting at 7 a.m. An admin asking for just a quick write-up on something meaningless.
And that moment, that specific request, is the test. That is the moment of truth.
That is the battlefield. And the victory isn't getting a pay raise or a title change. Not yet. The victory is the first strategic no.
It's stopping the reflex to say yes. It's catching yourself.
It is pausing, looking at the request, realizing it is tap water, and closing the valve. It is sending the email that says, I cannot commit to that right now due to my focus on my current students.
And realizing the sky doesn't fall. That's the fear, right? That everything will collapse.
The sky won't fall. In fact, the opposite happens. You walk a little taller, you feel a little lighter, you realize you have agency. You are not a leaf blowing in the wind of the school year. You are a tree. You stay put.
It's a shift in identity. The source talks about moving from good boy, girl to strategic winner.
We spend so much of our lives trying to be good students, good employees. But in this system, good just means compliant. Good means exploitable. We want you to be a winner. And a winner protects their value.
It's not about being rude. That's the thing I keep coming back to. None of this is about being mean or nasty.
No, it is about being rare. Diamonds aren't rude. They are just hard to find. Be the diamond.
Be the diamond. I like that. So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want you to look at your week ahead, look at your inbox, look at your schedule. Where are you leaking value? Where are you being tap water?
And where can you start digging for gold? It starts with silence. It starts with a pause. It starts with the refusal to be consumed.
It's a powerful message. It goes against so much of our training, but it makes so much sense when you look at the burnout rates. If we want to stay in this profession, we have to change how we play the game.
We have to stop playing their game and start playing ours.
Well said. This has been a fascinating look into the silent winner philosophy. It's definitely given me a lot to think about regarding my own boundaries, even outside of teaching.
It applies to everyone.
It really does. Expert, do you have a final thought to send us off with? Something to let simmer?
I do. And I want you to really let this question sit with you in the quiet moments of your drive home or before you fall asleep. Is your value measured by how useful you are or how rare you are? Stay silent and win.